Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel.
Oh, I'm so vibing. Vibing hard.
I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. I tell you get big box, you get yachts.
It's been a rough day. It's been a rough day. How is everybody?
Who's at the top think they need
I see.
Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase
My buddy Magic is here.
I don't give up.
What up, Daniel?
Cause I know that I want it.
By the way, he just had a show. So I hope you guys go and like and subscribe. He's cool, dude. Cool, dude. Anyways, so guys, I forgot today was Saturday. I totally forgot. My days are so mixed up with this job right now. It's been hectic. So, but anyways, good news. Good news to report is I was able to recover all my Google Docs. So that's cool. It's a little bit roundabout, but it made it happen. So, that being said, for the last stream where I had victory, I just wanted to come back and tell you guys that happened on 6/21/2023 on a Wednesday morning between 5 and 5:30. So, there's that. Let's see here. Let me get back in here. Two Shadows is here. What up, buddy? How are you? It's good to see ya. Glad to see everybody is here. Ah, I have a scarlet letter on my chest. I do, because right now the tide is rolling. And last I checked, we were beating Georgia. So, roll tide. Roll tide. Anyways, so yeah. All right. So, let me see here. Let me look over my notes. Make sure I'm prepared. Looks like I am. All right, cool. So, today is going to mark the end of my experiences to date. Hopefully that remains fairly consistent. But if not, no worries. I'm here for the fight. Not worried about it. But before we get into that, make sure you guys like and subscribe, please. I love you. Please. I like hanging out with you. So, anyways. So, yeah. Before I get into all that stuff, what's going on with y'all? Anybody got anything on their minds? Anybody want to share anything? I'll give you a minute. But, yeah. While I'm waiting on y'all. Bit of a rough drive today. I had to finish driving back from Louisiana. Turned out, well, first we thought we weren't going to work that last day. And we ended up saying that we're going to leave at 3. And then we ended up working a full day. So I did not get another room. I decided to drive halfway, get a hotel room, and hang out and finish up this morning. So, yeah, got to finish up that drive up here. Mississippi is pretty in places, but kind of boring the most of the time. Louisiana was really pretty. I was staying out there by, oh, what was that called? Right there at the Texas border. Um, Lafayette, maybe? I don't know. Honestly, it all kind of like runs together. And Magic is thinking about food. Nice. That's cool. I just got done cooking. But yeah, anyways, back in sweet home Alabama, the tide's rolling and winning, and I get to hang out with my friends. So it's a good day. It's a good day. So I'm happy. But anyways, you guys didn't hear or didn't come here to hear me talk about boring stuff. So let me get into this. All right. And if you noticed on the thumbnail, I don't know how to do the share screen sharing thing again. Yeah, I'm not the most professional person. But anyways, on the thumbnail, I actually included a picture that I took during the eclipse. So pay attention to that. Uh, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Yeah. To be fair to Shadows, I have been laid off before this for a couple weeks too. It's weird. It's weird right now. The economy is like, oh, the economy is growing. We have so many jobs that we want to hire people for, and yet everybody's like, eh, we're not going to call you back. It's weird. It's almost like it's artificially inflated. I don't know, but I'm not an economist, so I know that's the longest I've ever been unemployed for as a welder, and we're in such high demand. So it was weird, but whatever. Like I said, not an economist, so I'm not really qualified to speak on such things. But anyways, so I'm going to start this out with uh, a strange UFO experience that seemed to have kicked everything out or off. All right. So you guys remember when the eclipse went down? Yeah. Everything has been weird ever since then, is what I'm told. But I don't know. For me, it was like a lot of rapid fire things that went down. So, Two Shadow says, silver lining is I can catch all the shows. Yeah, I tell you what, when I was laid off, I caught all the shows too. It was a good time. I miss everybody. I miss everybody. I'm actually glad that I'm able to even be here. That's not been the case for a while. But yeah, anyway, so the eclipse that happened. Everybody, it was interesting. It was interesting. But I'll say that this started for me on the Friday night, Friday morning before. So it would be April 5th, 2024 at 2:45 a.m. Now, I tried to tell the story when I was driving up to work at on the road, and it was just so choppy. So, you know, we gonna redo this. Anyway, so I'm driving home from work at this time, and as I'm driving up, I notice that there's two lights hanging out in the sky. And I'm slowing down. I'm watching them because they're the right color for me to be like, uh-oh, stuff's going down. So I'm slowing down and I'm watching. There's nobody behind me. It's 2:45 at night, right? And as I get closer, I realize, oh, it's on my family's property. That's disconcerting. So the lights that I'm seeing, as I normally describe it, it's usually pretty consistent. It was warm white color as like in a light bulb, but bordering on orange. And these ones were slightly more oranger than normal, but still, within that color spectrum. I don't know if there's significance to that. If there is, let me know. Either way, so what I'm seeing is I'm seeing one kind of hanging out here stationary, and another one that's above it, and it's like doing a slow arcing motion once I get like, almost 90 degrees from it. And the other one that's hanging out does like a S turn, kind of, and then it loops back in and around itself, and they both land simultaneously in the woods behind my parents' house. So I witness all that, and I'm like, here we go. Something's about to go down. And I finally finish driving up. I pull in my driveway, and I can't see where they landed at in the woods from my driveway. But I hang out there for, a good few minutes. You know, maybe not the smartest of ideas, but by this time, I'm kind of ready for a fight. You know what I mean? That being said, I do my prayers while I'm hanging out, propped up on the car, just waiting, you know. And granted, I don't feel like having said fight, but if it's going to happen, then it's going to happen. Eh, whatever. I'm here for it. I don't want it to, but anyways. But I basically I'm like, look, Jesus, I'm actually pretty tired tonight, and I really don't feel like dealing with this. So please, send some protection down, and let's keep those critters away from me over here, please. So, anyways, I hang out. It's probably 10 minutes, and there's nothing. There's no sounds. Nothing seems to be approaching. No noise. No lights. I'm like, I don't think anything's gonna go down. Like, I have a bit of a feeling of peace kind of creeping in. It's like, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. So I go lay down and eat a small bite to eat while I'm there in bed, and nothing seems to really be going on. I'm not getting any spidey senses going on or anything like that. I'm just like, just at peace with it. I'm like, okay, weird. Fall asleep. Wake up the next morning. Nothing happened. Praise God. That's pretty unusual. Hmm, weird. Okay. Well, cool. But I'm like, okay, well, let's call mom because technically it was behind her house. So let's go check in on them, right? Oh, wait, one note before I forget. When I was outside, for whatever reason, my rooster, Rastus, rest in peace, was crowing. So I guess he was being a bit of a biosensor and he felt danger. But anyways, yeah, he was raising Cain. But that was really all for my area. Anyways, so I call mom the next morning. And I was like, hey, guess what I saw last night? She said, oh, what'd you see? And I explained it to her. And she was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah. Did anything weird happen for y'all last night? She's like, yes, actually. She's like, our dog, he normally never barks at all at night about anything. I was like, oh. And she's like, well, he was barking his head off all night. It's like, okay. I was like, do you remember what time it was? She was like, yeah, it was around like 2:45 or so, 3. I was like, oh, so the same time this happened for me. She's like, oh, yeah, I guess that's when it was. Yeah. I was like, okay. She's like, well, yeah, that's weird. He don't do that. But I guess I understand why he did it. Yeah. He must have sensed something was going down, right? I was like, well, was there anything else? And she said, I don't know if it's related or not, but your sister had something interesting happen too. Now, after the wife and I moved out, my little sister moved in. And anyway, I was like, okay, what happened? And she said, well, your sister got woken up real early in the morning. It would have been after that. closer to time of her getting up to go to work, but not like too far or not too close to it. Like, I guess if she's getting up around 5ish, this probably went down around 4ish, if I had to guess. I don't know. The details on that are a little foggy. I'll need to talk to her more about it. But anyways, either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm like, all right. So what happened? She said, well, she said that she got woken up by the sound of the way she described it was a giant metal door slamming shut. And I was like, ooh, ooh, that's a red flag. We talk about the metal door sound. We talk about that. I was like, okay, interesting. I was like, all right, well, so Mom, this is what we say about giant metal doors. It is the sound of a, let's use code, and I'll explain why I'm using code in a minute. Sound of a porta potty opening it or closing. Give it a second. Give it a second. Portal, right? That's what we say. Now, and so I explained that to her, but I'm also like, I'm not gonna be hyping it up too hard. I'm gonna give her an out too, right? So I'm like, also understand, we live right here off of Highway 75. Could, I don't know, an 18-wheeler going down the road of hit something and it made a large crashing steel noise? Yes. Could a, I don't know, improperly fastened down big thing on a trailer hit a bump? Yes, but to be honest, there's no bumps out here. We've had car wrecks out here and they're loud, but they're not so loud to the point where you would be woken up by it, I don't think. I mean, because my sister's a lot like me. She and I both sleep like the dead when we're asleep, right? And my old room and the room that she's in now is right there closest to the wood line. So if anything was out there, she would have heard it better than anybody else. So there's some logic, and then there's the woo. If you want to choose logic, go for it. It's a reasonable thing to deduce. But like I said, I lived there for many years. There ain't nothing that's ever happened on that road loud enough to wake me up. I'm not her. But yeah, the timing of it and the way that we talk about said subjects makes it super sus. Super sus. Yeah. Red flag, Two Shadow says. Definitely. Definitely. So, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that that was the series of events for that night. So, oh no. I guess you can believe whatever you want to believe. You know, I know what I saw. I know what I saw. So, anyways, let's see here. I don't remember what the date was of the eclipse, but understand that this was the Friday before it happened. So I think almost a week later, it would be. I think it happened on Thursday. I don't know. I don't know. Let me grab my phone here off the stand and I can show you guys this picture real quick. So, anyways, the eclipse starts going down on that whatever day it was, and I remember I was in the shower because I worked nights, and I saw it getting dark out, and I was like excited about it. I was like, "Ooh, yay! Cool stuff is going down. Cool stuff is going down." So I wanted to hurry up and get finished up getting ready, go outside and grab one of my spare welding hoods and look at the eclipse through it. It's what I always do, right? And let's see here. And anyways, so I went out there and my auto darkening wasn't working very well, even though I had the sensitivity and everything turned up. Like I would look up, it would darken, I'd see the eclipse, and then it would turn off, and then I'd see other stuff going on. And I was like, what is that other stuff? That's weird. So let's take a look at this. Hmm, There we go. You see those other lights next to the big light? So the big light is the eclipse. The small lights are something hanging out in the vicinity of said eclipse. And let's see here. Touche says maybe that's why you didn't see where the light UFO went. Perhaps, yeah, it didn't want to hang around me apparently, which is okay by me. Not that I want anything to happen to anybody, but you know. So, anyways, yeah, I took that picture. Interesting. Now, one thing that is there to understand about said picture is that there's two lenses on that cheap little auto darkening setup I had on there. There's the shade that does the auto darkening. There's a protector in front of it. So if I'm taking a picture through two lenses, if you cut the number of lights that are there in half, you would have the actual number of lights that are really there. So there's that. There's not as many that's going on there. I'm pretty sure there's three, but maybe just two. But either way, hi, Freaky. Good to see you, buddy. And yeah, they are round, just like every single UFO that I've ever seen is round. Well, not every single. The one I saw in daylight was a disc, but the ones I had saw, the previous couple nights before, round, round balls of light. Are they the same? Don't know. But the fact that they were there and they were reflecting the light back of the eclipse and they look round is interesting. Maybe it's just an artifact though. Maybe it's not maybe it's not what I think it is. You know? Like I said, I gave you some of the logic there. I'm taking a picture through a welding hood. So maybe it's just all artifacts. But every time I've ever done that, it's always worked out fine. And I've never had any other problems with catching pictures. Let's see here. Magic says 2 plus 2. Wait, 2 equal plus 2 equal fish. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know that particular formula, man. Even though I'm like 2 or 3% Asian, I didn't get the math gene. I got the conquest gene because I'm like that side of my genetics is Mongolian. So not to say that they're not smart, they are, but yeah, we like conquer stuff. So didn't get the maths. I don't maths good. Oh, he says I'm tired tonight, so I kind of messed up. Yeah, 2 plus 2 still doesn't equal fish, but I like what you're saying. We're gonna go with it tonight. Either way. So yeah, during the eclipse, I caught that. Is it what I think it is? Maybe. Maybe. I find it interesting. I don't know. But anyways, things are even more interesting things are happening after this. So let's look here. Da, 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 da. Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Shorthand. Sometimes I'm not very good at interpreting my own shorthand. Anyways, so I'm off on Friday because we had been working 410s. And at this time, for the past 4, maybe 5 months, my second cousin, we'll say, had moved in with us, and she's been with us ever since. And she had been going through a really, really rough time. And Jupes is here. What up, Jupes? It's good to see you, man. Anyway, sorry, let's get back on track. So anyways, yeah, she'd been living with us because had a hard time. She just went through a massive breakup, and she'd been with this feller for 9 years, I think, something like that. Anyways, and she wasn't getting over it well. You know, it was strange. Like, it's like, going to like therapy sessions and stuff. Like, that's not unheard of for a breakup. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's weird. But after a couple of months, I would expect somebody to start bouncing back a little bit. At the very least, just out of anger. You know, but maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. You know, but either way, no judgment, no judgment. I'm hurt that she's hurting. Because I love my family. I want to make sure that everything's okay. And then she had received some kind of contact from not him, but I think a family member that she was really close to of his. And it made her just spiral. And I was just so upset to see her upset, like, I'm at a loss of things, and I'm ready to just try to do something, like there's not nothing I can do, right? But if I can figure out something, then we need to do it, So I went into a room because we built her a room here because that's how much, she hangs with us. We love her to death. We built our extra guest bedrooms with her in mind, and she's in there crying, and I'm like, look, let's talk, okay? She's like, okay, all right, we'll talk. So I'm like, okay, look, this is strange. These events that are going on are weird, and I feel like your reaction is a little bit disproportional for what it should be after this much time. I need to know this backstory. Like, what's going on? And she's like, well, he kind of grown cold a little bit before everything happened for like maybe 2 months, and we were kind of doing couples therapy for a little bit, and it just wasn't working. I'm like, okay, I get that. Why? Why wasn't it working? Like, was it on his end, your end? She's like, yes and no on his end, but it's hard to explain. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, explain. Try your best. She's like, he he recently went through a bit of a change in personality. I was like, okay, what do you mean? Like, let's break that down. What's that mean? She's like, well, it's weird because it all started when he went to South America to do an ayahuasca trip. Red flag. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what kind of ayahuasca trip? Because, I went to Costa Rica once and I wanted to try it. Glad I didn't, but nobody else wanted to do it with me, so I never got to. So, yay, good. Glad I didn't do that. Anyways, I'm like, well, what kind of like thing is this? She's like, well, it's a retreat for, like the rich and famous. Like they do these special ayahuasca trips for rich and famous people and business tycoons and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. So this is like getting into machine health territory, like what Alex Jones likes to talk about. So, red flag. right? Like, okay, okay, it's one of those kind of ayahuasca trips. I'm like, all right, talk to me about it. What did he say about it? She's like, well, he came back a completely just different person. I'm like, okay. He was excited because, he had some kind of revelations about life and business and stuff like that. Because this man is a very um important person in the Georgia area. I don't know that I want to give much details, but think of big stuff, big places in Georgia, and yeah, big person there. So, anyways, he's excited. He's learned all these new secrets about business and life, and he's also come to the conclusion that he was able to meet and talk to the real gods. I'm like, oh, okay, red flag. Okay, give me more details here. She's like, he didn't really give me a whole lot of information about them, right? But he did say that afterwards that he felt like he was above everybody after this. Like whatever his revelation was, that made him above everybody else. And he felt sorry for us sheep that were so blind and deluded. But it was okay because better people like him would lead us to a better future. Okay? Like, all right. But apparently also, he was told by them that in order for his life to start progressing more, he had to make some changes. Freaky ass, nothing to do with Scientology, is it? No, no, nothing to do with Scientology, to my knowledge. No, no, I don't know. I don't know what particular people he met on that side. The we often refer to them as machine elves, but it can be anywhere from beings of light to talking geometric patterns with that stuff. It kind of just run the gambit, and it seems to be kind of personalized to the person. So I don't know, but it didn't sound like thetans. Is that what Scientologists call it? It didn't sound like that. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So he was told he had to make sacrifices. Okay. So one thing he had to do was get her out of his life. Now, he didn't necessarily want to do this, and I don't blame him because she's awesome. She's a very nice, sweet person. And he even himself admitted he's like, "Look, you've been the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I love you deeply." He said, "But on one of my visions, I saw an angel come into your life that lets me know that you're going to be okay and you don't need me. So, I'm going to cut you out." So that's how that happened. And another thing to understand is like when she first moved in, she had a dog with her. And it was odd because like the dog was middle-aged, but it seemed after this trip, see the timing is what makes it a red flag. After this trip, the dog developed cancer, and it was seemed to be very, very rapid. And she can afford the best vets that money can buy. So she loved that dog. That was her child. And she took him to all the treatments, all the therapies. That thing was going on all kind of chemo and had surgeries and stuff like that. And as rapid as everything seemed to onset, it also started turning around. And it was interesting, the timing of it seemed to coincide with like her level of happiness. because like it seemed like to me, just outside looking in and having this knowledge of what happened, like almost kind of, I want to say like energy vampire type situation. Like, she would get happy and then the joy would just be sucked out of her. Same with the dog, it's like the dog was almost some kind of a living sacrifice that was made. And when things turned around for the dog, the vets were like, I think he's going to make it. He seems to be making a full recovery. Things are looking great. She's happy about it. And then somebody attached to her or attached to him gets in contact with her. Not the same one that, started the prayer. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Sorry, I brought that up without giving the backstory. Words equal heart. I'm not the best storyteller. Anyways, somebody got in contact with her and that just made her spiral again. And then all of a sudden, the dog died. Now, how how does that work? Is that what happened? I don't know. I can't see what's going on there with that, right? But that timing is so sus. I mean, it's such a red flag, and I don't know what to make of that. Another weird thing that had happened, though, like during the entire time that she lived here, up until we prayed, there was a black cat that I had never seen before. Nobody had ever seen this black cat before, but it would wander up at night, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and sit underneath her window and basically meow and cry its head off. She ended up naming the thing Banshee, but it would never come to anybody else's window, only hers. And it would keep her, from getting good night's rest. And at the time, I thought nothing of it. I'm like, okay, weird cat. You want me to take care of it for you? No, no, don't hurt the cat. I'm like, okay, well, chase it off, do something. Yeah, don't feed it. I don't care to have Banshee here. But anyways, so that's going on. Dog dies. Her happiness is just declining. And it's just not, it's improving, but then it's not improving her mental state. And then somebody else gets in touch. I think it was his uncle or something that like partially raised him, was like a father figure to him. And he had like words to say to her and stuff about things, but it wasn't nothing too crazy, but like it was enough to like trigger her and make her just spiral, and that's when I'm like, okay, let's talk. Let's just do the praying. So I hear all of the ayahuasca and everything, and it sounds like, the way that she talked about it is like he definitely made deals with said entities, and that's why things went the way they went. But he was, convinced that she would be fine. Whatever. So I'm like, all right. Well, everything that you just described to me is, a red flag. This is spiritual warfare that's going on. I feel like, your dog was a sacrifice, a living sacrifice that was made, and that you, well, maybe not living sacrifice because he's dead, but I don't know. He was a sacrifice. I don't know how that stuff works. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? He was a sacrifice. And you are constantly being drained somehow, and this needs to stop. This can't happen anymore. Right? She's like, okay, well, what do we do? I was like, well, let's pray. Let's pray. And first we start off with, you know, uh, I'm rebuking basically this spiritual warfare that's going on. Whatever particular flavor it seems to be. Whatever that is. I don't. I mean, without knowing everything, I can't be for sure. But I'm like, look, right now we're standing against this. This is no longer allowed to happen. I rebuke it. She rebukes it. We're praying through this. We're having victory, well, she is having victory. I'm just standing in the gap for her. They'll attack those that are closest to you. Too Shadow says, "Yep, every time, every time." And so, we get that took care of, and I feel peace about that. And then next, it's like, okay, let's focus or let's change the way that we're looking at this now, and let's pray for said guy. Nothing vengeful going on here. Like we don't want retribution or nothing like that. No, 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 no. That ain't right. People that if you don't you can't pray that way. That ain't correct. Don't do that. And we're like, look, God, touch this man. Touch his life. Let him know and understand that what he is doing is wrong. You can't sacrifice people and things. Bring him back into the fold. Let him know that you're real. Show him what he's doing is wrong. And be with him, bless him, protect him, and until he's able to get out of this, you know, trying to pray for his well being, even though he seems to be coming against her pretty hard. So, it's probably, I don't know, everything probably takes 2.5 hours, maybe, but afterwards, things are great. We feel good about it. She feels great about it. She feels more peace about the situation than she ever has, and that's great. I felt awesome about that. I was like, look, I'm so glad that you feel good. No matter what the outcome is, it doesn't matter. I'm just happy that you're happy and everything seems copacetic. And she's like, yeah, yeah. And then, she's like, I really feel like I can deal with this now. I'm like, well, that's great. If you need me, holler at me. I'm happy to pray whenever you want to pray about it. All right. So we go to bed. That Saturday morning, she receives an email from said guy. Yeah. He emailed her that morning. He wanted back in, because she felt like she had definitely severed that. She was over it. Before that, she would have took him back in a heartbeat. But after that prayer session, she was done. She was ready to move on. And I don't know how he knew or whatever, but he felt something. And he wanted back in and he wanted to make some kind of a connection. And she was, upset about it, but she responded back and she basically said, "No, here's the reasons. What you did, the way you've treated me, isn't right, isn't correct. We're done. I wish nothing but the best for you, and I hope you're able to find happiness." I, I first of all, I was impressed. I was like, "Whoa, you really said that? Awesome! I was not expecting that." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, is that gonna stay true?" She's like, "Yep," because I told him to not contact me ever again. Like, wow, that's a lot of turnaround there. She's like, "Yep, it is." Well, the way I felt about everything last night, I meant it. I believe it. I claim it. Like, awesome, awesome. Let's make sure that that doesn't happen no more. We got to sever that connection so he can't keep tapping into you like an energy vampire, right? Yep. So Saturday goes off. Fine. No problems. No more contact, which is good. Now, Sunday, we try to do like a family dinner type situation, and we try to have somebody come over. And that time, uh, the wife's uncle came, And I was out there. I grilled something on the Blackstone. I think I made some steaks or something. They were delicious. And we were hanging out. And after we were done eating, we are like, well, let's go outside and enjoy the ambiance of the woods and stuff, right? I've got one of those smokeless fire pits out there. I went and got some wood. And we hung out by the fire. I was relaxing, drank a beer, smoked a cigar, and just enjoyed the rest of my night and the fellowship with family. And he was like, "Well, time to hit the old dusty trail." Like, "Oh, so soon?" It's only like 8ish. You know. He's like, I'm old. I need to get some sleep." I'm like, "Okay." It's too bad I cut all this firewood. It's like, hang out with it. I'm like, "Okay." I looked at the girls. They're like, no, we're going in. We're gonna see him off. I'm like, "Okay, well, fine. I'm still smoking a cigar, so I'm gonna hang out here with the firewood." And so they go in, and it's maybe, let's just say, 10 minutes that go by, and I start hearing some noises from basically like the backside of my property, but between my corner of the property and my neighbors over there to the right. And it sounds like something very large crashing through brush. Slowly though. I'm like, it's the neighbor's cows. It's gotta be. The neighbor's cows are done doing cow stuff at night and they're coming up to hang out in the barn to take a nap. Problem is, like on his part of the property, there's not much in the way of trees there. That's only on my side. But I'm like, I'm doing my best to like, not get worked up about it. It's just a cow. It's just a cow that's moving. No big deal. Just I keep on hanging out and enjoying it. I get done with my cigar and I hear a loud booming crash, much closer. I'm like, still just a cow. Everything is okay. Just a cow. But I'm hyper focused in. I'm like, let's see if I can see old cow. And it does it again, and then I hear like a huff or snort associated with it, and it's closer, and I feel the ground vibrate. I'm like, okay, not cow. What else does that? What else does that? Oh, deer do that. Okay. It's like a distress thing that deer do. I'm like, okay, there's a deer in the woods. It doesn't like me being here. Interesting that that sound that it made didn't sound like any deer snort that I've ever heard, but maybe it's got a cold or, or it's got the coof or something. I don't know. Maybe it's sick. It just doesn't sound right. It's just a deer. And I was like, I don't think a deer is strong enough to make the ground vibrate from that far away. I mean, this thing's like, I don't know, 150 feet away. Like, okay, okay. Things are heating up. All right. Just a deer, though. And then a couple of seconds, or well, maybe not seconds, but a little bit of time, about a minute goes by. Again, no snort, just the loud, stomp, boom, shakes the ground. And it's closer, it's about within 100 feet. Like, all right. I'm not, I can't be rational anymore. So I start talking aloud. I'm like, hey, critter out there. I don't know what you are or what you think you're doing, but I ain't down to play tonight. You best get on. You best get on. So it's silent. And right behind, like, where my fire pit is, right on the edge of my property line. Like the backside of this brush pile is where my property ends. So this is like where all the leftover materials are from me building the house. And so like I can't it's pretty large and I can't really see behind it. But there's wood and there's also scrap pieces of tin in there from the roof and the house. And all of a sudden I hear that loud thud again. And then I hear something take its claws for I guess is the only way I know how to describe it. And put it on the tin and start scratching it. And that's 60 feet from me, 50 feet from me. Like, okay, it's going down. It's going down. So I jump in the side by side, and I wish I had a gun with me. I didn't have my gun with me. The only thing I had in there was a machete so that I could get small pieces of wood to make some uh tinder or yeah, like shavings and stuff to get the fire started. That's all I had with me. So I reach over there and I grab the machete out and I turn into that fella that does like the ghost show on Travel Channel or Sci-Fi, whatever it was. But you know who I'm talking about. The come at me, bro. Come on, demons. He starts ripping off his shirt. I turn into that guy. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm like, oh, okay, you want to play? Come on then. I've got the side by side cranked up. I've got the headlights on, the big lights that I installed on it on, and I've got the whole area lit up. I'm like, all right, come on with you. I told you to leave. Now you're here. You ain't listening, so let's do something. And I'm also like praying. I'm like, God, come on, get my back here. Something's going down. I don't know what it is, but I know you got me. Protect me. Let's do this, right? Be with me as we get this took care of. I'm inching up in the side by side. I've got the lights and I'm maneuvering them around so that I can see at different angles. I mean, I've got the whole place lit up. I'm looking for eye shine. I'm looking for anything, and it's still just stomping. Like, oh. And I don't know what my plan was. Like, if I did see something, I guess my plan was to, you know, pedal to the metal on the side by side and try to ram into it and then get out and start hacking it with my machete and, you know, rebuking it in the name of Jesus at the same time. Ah, rebuke you. Stab, stab, I don't know. I don't know. It's a ridiculous thought. But that's what I guess that's what I was planning on because, I was just blinded by the anger of the situation. I was like, "Oh yeah, let's fight this sucker. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to throw down." And as I'm still inching up and I'm praying and I'm fixing to cross that boundary line of my property so that I could see behind the pile there. And right before I do, I've got a voice that's happening. Now, this voice is the voice of the Holy Spirit. It is not mind speak. Those things sound completely different, feel completely different. It's not that at all. It is not emanating from said creature or any other said creatures. No. I know what the Holy Spirit sounds like. I grew up Pentecostal. Trust me. I know what this is. And I am Pentecostal now. I'm a Christian. I know what this is. This is God talking to me. It's, hey, calm down. Everything's going to be fine. Whatever you do, don't go past your property line. Where you are right now is as far as you need to go. And I'm like, are you sure? Really want to go after it? Peace. It's okay. Don't go past this point. Fine. Fine. I'm talking aloud. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Fine. I'm not going to go. Fine. And it's like, I don't know if it heard me, if it heard something, but all of a sudden, it's just the sound of something taking off. Not loud, though, this time. It's quiet enough. It's like if a person was running, but taking care to not make too much noise. Yeah, that's the best way I know how to describe it. So I'm like, all right, it's done. This is done. So, well, I'm not going to enjoy my fire. Cigar's gone. It's just time to turn in. So, drive around the front, go in, and I talked to everybody. And I went up to the second cousin. I was like, hey, this just happened. She was like, wow, really? I was like, yeah. She's like, the timing of everything is just so weird right now. And I was like, yeah, it's got some interesting timing going on right now. I don't know what to make of that, but whatever. All was good. So I, you know, hung out for a little bit with the girls, and then it's time to go to bed. And I said my prayers, and I was like, thank you for, protecting me, for guiding me through this. I kind of wanted to get after it, but either way, you know, thank you. And I don't want the stuff to be happening anymore on my property. You know, and it's like I need an answer. So the next day, I had the answer come up to my head, and in the same manner. The Holy Spirit was telling me, go to the tree that the surveyors used to mark the boundary of what your actual legal property is. Go to that tree, anoint it, and pray for it. I'm like, okay. So that's what we go out there and do. Anointed it with oil, prayed over it, and I asked God, look, put if you would put some kind of sentinel angels out there or something, send some angels to be hanging out right here and watch this property line and make sure that nothing that is not of you can come in, Lord. That's basically like my prayer. And ever since that, nothing has seemed to have come in, which is good, which is great. One interesting thing though is after that, you remember that cat Banshee? Banshee never came up to the house again. I saw Banshee one time during the day after this, but not on my property. Like, it was basically sitting down in a field looking at my property. And I was like, oh, that's Banshee. I'm like, you know what? Stay there, Banshee, because I don't trust you. I'm going to go take care of you. I go in. I'm going to get something to take care of old Banshee. We took, just a couple seconds. Look back, Banshee gone. Looked everywhere. Granted, could it have ran in the 30-second time period it would have taken me to get something? Yes. But I would have been able to have no problem. Like where it was, I wouldn't have had a problem finding it. It was gone. I think it knew. That was the only time I saw it. It's been gone ever since. I talked to all my neighbors. No neighbor has a cat that looks like Banshee. Very large black cat. So I don't know. Don't know. I did have something interesting happen though a couple of weeks ago. Now, this happened. I don't know. First of all, I don't know if it's anything to read into or not. I'll just tell you guys the story quickly. The last form of the Forbidden that we did, we were on Magical Journeys channel, and we were talking about porta potties, right? Coded words, portals. And I told that story that I told you guys. And when I did, strangely, on our end, everything was fine. On the YouTube audience side of things, it had kicked everybody out. And there was like a couple-minute gap there. And he says, LOL. He knows what's coming on. And, and we went back, or at least I went back and watched the replay, and there was, you know, like almost like a seamless cut or splice on YouTube's end where it just didn't exist. And yet on our end, it was fine. You know, doesn't like us talking about certain subjects, right? So that made me pretty mad. Didn't like that. But I can live with that. But during that time period, also, come to find out, the second cousin was hanging out in her room doing work. And she said something crashed into her back door, into the door, because the back door to the porch is in her room. So something crashed into it, and something had stood up and was trying to claw its way in. And it freaked her out. I mean, that would be enough to freak me out too. I'd be like, okay, time to fight, you know. But I was like, okay, well, talk to her. I was like, okay, well, what was it? She's like, I don't know. I was too scared to go look. She said, but I thought it was going to claw its way into the door. Okay, about how tall do you reckon it would be? She's like, it'd probably be around the 3 foot range. Okay. Okay, so we go outside and investigate, right? This is the morning after. And first of all, I got on to her. I was like, look, if anything weird ever happens, get me. Let me know. We handle it. Okay. So, anyways, and we go outside and we look at the door, and there's a little bit of blood spray on it. Not a whole lot, but like a couple of little specks scattered out through it on it, where something had ran into the door. And I was like messing with it. I got most of it off. I took a picture of a small speck, but it's not enough to really matter. And plus, the dog was licking it off too. So gross. Anyways, and I'm like, okay, interesting. Let's go and investigate some further, right? Because if 3 foot tall would indicate most likely raccoon or cat, right? That's my thoughts on the matter. I don't know what it was. But I look, and after the porch ends, there's like a big mulch bed there, and you can see a trail through the mulch where something had been running very quickly and kicked up its little trail, and then went straight to the door. So something was in panic mode. Now it was too dry for there to be any kind of prints out there, so I looked everywhere. Only thing I could see was just like slight bit of trail, and it was very hard to follow. But it had definitely come from like a game trail basically that went through the property line. After you pass that property line, there is a couple of larger matted down areas where something big could have been. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I've got plenty of deers out there. I mean, we do a good job of basically bush hogging out there in between trees so that we can, you know, do our outdoorsy stuff. But there is a few spots that are large and matted down, but only past my property line. I'm like, okay, maybe, maybe. It seems like something large was chasing a critter and stopped at my property line. Now, if it were a natural animal, such as a coyote or one of my neighbors on the backside of our property caught a cougar on their trail cam. If something natural was chasing something down and that thing that was being chased, basically stopped and tried to get into a house for a little bit, there'd be zero reason for it to not just keep on walking up and be like, yoink, you're my tasty snack now. But it didn't. It ran off towards the other neighbor's house. I was able to find that trail after too. Why? I don't know. Now, is that something natural and explainable? Probably. But given the timing of everything that happened that night on the Form of the Forbidden, I don't know. It's like, by the way, Form of the Forbidden's awesome. Y'all need to check it out. We need to do it again soon, too. But, anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But I know it wasn't getting past that tree. I don't know that I would ascribe anything to particular and magical about said tree. But if you like trees, there you go. You know who I'm talking to. But anyways, yes. So the point is, you know, the takeaways there from all that is, that's legally where I have authority. And praying over said tree and sanctifying that area, you know, that just marks it down in the spirit world. Legal authority is held by him here. And I have God on my side. You know? So far, things have not decided to mess with me. But something must be happening on football. I hear people yelling. But yeah, it's interesting that after the last show that I talked to you guys about where things had victory, where now when things show up, one, they're not on my property, and two, they don't come at me the same way. Yeah, I find that interesting. Now, if this pattern keeps holding true, well, I'll let you know. Hopefully I won't have any more interactions. We're entering the quiet time again, typically, but maybe not. I don't know. I was really tired one night and having a rough night when I was working in South Carolina last week. And, I was looking into the sky and praying. And I asked God, I was like, God, I just need a sign. Give me a sign that you're watching over me. Show me an angel or something. And all of a sudden, a light like twinkled into existence. It was white, and then like it would stay lit up white, and then like a green light flashed, and then a red light flashed, and that was it. And it was just green. Those colors I automatically was kind of like airplane, but no, it was kind of pulsating and twinkly, and it looked pretty, and I felt peace. So I was like, okay, I think that's a sign. Maybe it's a sign of a satellite. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to read into it and take comfort by it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But either way, not nothing too crazy is going on at the moment. So that's good. That's good. But as far as timelines go, this completes everything. So, in the future, what we're going to do is Keep on having some roundtables. Keep on having some guest appearances. And I'm going to look at some of the classic stories, I think. And plus, whatever stories that people send me. Whatever the subject matter is, we're going to look at it. I'm going to tell it. And I'm going to point out the things that are red flags. I'm going to take my lens and put my spin on things, I guess you could say. You know, like for instance, I need to go back and like look at it, but like, things that you normally don't hear about, like say in the classic Betty Barney Hill case, right? One of the examinations or whatever that they did to Barney was they basically were counting his vertebrae in his back. And, you know, why would they care to count the vertebrae in his back? That seems like a strange thing. Well, one thing that is a side effect of people that are Rh negative is they sometimes have an extra vertebrae. Now, surface layer, okay, interesting. It knows enough to do this examination on a human. But to what end? Why does it care? Well, if you remember, poor guy got probed and they took, biological samples of that from him, which, by the way, I mean, if you listen to like the recordings of him, God, I mean, that's traumatic. Traumatic. I feel awful for the guy. Red flag. That's right, magic. But why would they need that sample? First of all, friendly space brothers, why? Why go that route and be torturing this man? Why not knock him out? Why not, I don't know, boop him on the forehead and basically give him the mental, you know, give a man a wet dream type situation and collect the sample? Yeah, I don't understand that method and being so cold about it. But why would you even need a sample? Because it does turn out that he was Rh negative. So that seemed to be something that they were concerned about. Why? Why? You know, things that, things like that. Just an example. You know, things that you might not always, have come up and brought up. Be like, and not to say that I know a whole lot, but I have my perspective, and I might be able to point out a few things and be like, hey, this is a thing. Like me personally, I think Rh negative blood is not normal. I don't think evolutionarily speaking, it's possible to arise naturally. I think it has a lot to do with interbreeding back in the time of the Nephilim, biblical times, Genesis 6 and all that. I'm Rh negative, so I mean it's my wife is Rh negative. Yeah. My kids are Rh negative. I feel like it's something. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No, not at all. But it's just one of those things like if you were going to hybridize and make said creature, having something that is already there, genetically speaking, that is just a little bit more potentially conducive, or, is that the word? I don't know. Anyways, just something that's just a little bit extra there genetically to be able to graph onto for your stuff and their stuff. I feel like that would probably be just slightly important. You know, I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. But either way, an example. That's how I want to start going about things until something happens to me. If something happens, y'all gonna know. What's this? Magic says Rh negative is caused from rooting for Alabama. Roll Tide, brother. Roll Tide. But anyways, I gotta get a quick check on that score. I hope hope it's doing good. Anyways, yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. So, anyways, guys, if there's anything else out there, get it typed up to me. We'll talk real quick. I'll give you a second. Give it a second. And I think it's time to start cueing the music. Yeah. Guys, look. Doki Doki. Holler at me. Reach out. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you would, please. And, if you need me for anything, email me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Check out the Facebook page. Check out my friends. Look at Tom, Eye of Jupiter, Magical Journey there. Paranormal Among Us Paul, my good buddy Barton Nunley. Go check out my friends. Show them some love. Alright, but anyways, guys, be good. I love you. Bye. Cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get